So welcome to the session, Nibosh National General Certificate. We are on NG2, the risk assessment, and we are on part 3 today, right? I was saying there, please remember to use your guidance document, right? Now the guidance, I just saw it. Let me see if I can find it for you. The guidance document, where did it go, right? It looks like this, right? So let me see if I can get it for you. So once you follow this guidance, you would not need any sort of additional assistance. The guidance literally tell you exactly what you need to do for each part of the project, right? So if you have any doubt, let's say we're on part 3 today anyway, right? Then you get to the guidance document that pertains to part 3. You have a read of that, and that should tell you. So this is what we're looking at today. I'm just trying to get this a bit bigger on the view screen, right? The Zoom thing is in all of the controls, right? Yeah. So like you'd have seen last week, then like we did moral, legal, and financial, right? The legal argument must cover duties that would apply to all workplaces, situations such as the duties under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, right? So we would have done that last week. And again, I could do a review, but remember these things are recorded. They are on the I think for you all they're on YouTube, right? And there are many more videos of part 3 and part 4 that is on YouTube itself anyway, right? Let me admit a couple of people coming in probably because of the power issue. Let me just make sure that they're all in. Right. All right. So you all have been using this, right? And please continue to use this as we get the rest of the project done. Let me just get the sample for you all. Can you tell me if you are seeing the sample in the background, or is it still on the guidance itself?
Seeing the sample.
Very good, very good. All right. So I think we got to part 3, and I remember saying last week part 3 have 2 teams. Like the first thing you do for part 3 is not the same thing you do for the second part of part 3. There's like 2 different things in part 3, right? So to wrap up part 3, which is already on, we taught that last week, and like I said, you can capture it back on the videos, right? In short, what you're doing for part 3, you are doing a moral paragraph why health and safety should be managed, and we went into the nitty-gritties of that last week. Then you are writing a financial paragraph why health and safety should be improved. We went into the nitty-gritty of that as well. And then the legal reasons, then talking about the HSW Act section 2, the different sections of the Act, right? 22A, 22B, that would be the legal reasons, right? So you're really writing 3 paragraphs or 3 concepts. I wouldn't say paragraphs really, but you could think of it as a paragraph, 1 paragraph for moral, 1 paragraph for financial, 1 paragraph for legal. And that is what is going to make up the moral, general legal, and financial arguments for health and safety. So I would leave that there. I don't think anybody in this class reached that far. Because I think I got some introductions this week, which is part 1. So I don't think anybody got to that. But when you do, please don't go blindly in it. Remember, make your notes number 1. That's what you're doing today, making your notes. And then what you want to do is look at the video, right? And probably pause it. I mean, they're on YouTube. Pause it when you get into part 3. Try to understand what it's trying to say, right? Try to understand, like what we're trying to say. Of course, make notes as you go along today too, so that you can do a good part 3, right? So let's go into that. Okay, for the legal, okay, would you need to quote the law for the legal aspect? Which part of it are you talking about? Are you talking about the first part of it? There's a question in the chat. Is it up here? And if so, the answer is yes, because we have just said that the different sections of the Act have to be quoted, right? All right, so we come down here. So if you want, what happened is a lot of people coming in, right? So every time I pause, so let me just wait a couple of minutes. What you could do, you could set up a paper and think in the meantime to write. Every time I try to say something, somebody is coming in and it's sort of disrupting the flow then, right? So set up a paper in the meantime for part three. Right? Part three, the second part of it. And I'll take you through that in a bit, right? All right. So I don't have to start. I could do something else here until everybody come in, right? So what do you want to think about for part three? You want to think about three of the hazards from the table to move forward with, right? So from your table, you want to go forward with only three hazards, right? So you could think of it as like the first, second, and third, right? So you want to go with you choosing your three out of the 10 to move forward with, right? So three hazards of your choosing. And each one of them, there's like a space to fill out something for them, right? So you have action one. If you go down, you'll see action two. If you go down again, you'll see action three, right? So three hazards to move forward with. Now, once you choose one, so let's just go with this one here. What you choose here was work at height, right? Yeah. So what do you want to do once you choose that? You want to choose one of the actions, right? Yeah. One of the actions from the fourth column, if you see it taken from the column 4 of the risk assessment, right? So you want to choose one of the actions from the fourth column. And I need to go up and show you what I'm talking about, right? So if you go back to the table, we have to find work at height. But let's read it out first, right? The action they took was purchase a mobile bridge to allow the mechanic to safely access both sides of the inspection pit when working at ground level. See if you could kind of try to memorize that, right? Purchase a mobile bridge to allow the mechanics to be able to safely access both sides of the inspection pit when working at ground level, right? And so let's go and try to find that because that didn't come there by itself, that came out from the RA table, right? So let's go to try to find work at height. Let's go back to the table. So if we look here, you'd see work at height and look at here, right? So out of the 10, they chose work at height, working at height. And see if you notice this, right? There are three controls here, right? But you're only choosing one to go forward with. So the one they chose was purchase a mobile bridge to allow the mechanics to be able to safely access both sides of the inspection pit when working at ground level. Timescale is 2 months, right? Tell me if you understand what you're doing. I'll kind of try to circulate here for you. So once you choose your hazard that you're going forward with, there's only three of them you have to choose. In the fourth column, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. There may be 5 controls here. There may be 3 controls here. There may be 6 controls here, but you're only choosing one to go forward. Tell me if you're okay with that. And that choice is up to you. You choose your hazard and you choose your control from the fourth column. Tell me if you're okay with that. Because I have to go back. I wouldn't want to go back and have to come back up here. So as I appear here on the RA table, tell me if you're okay with what happened here. So you make the choice, you choose your hazard. And even though there may be 5 things here, 6 things here, you're just choosing one control to work with. Right? If you want to get call your name because you're not saying nothing, right? We have Michael, we have Jessica, Megan, Danishwari. right? Samaria, Whitney, Joshua, Afraz, Osmond. Are you all okay with what happened here in terms of choosing a hazard and choosing a control? Shannon, Evangeline,
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Chama.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
make sure you understand it,
Yeah.
right? Say, don't take more than one, just take one, right? Okay, so I'm going back down on the table then, right? I'm gonna clean all of this and we're going back to the table, right? Again, which one you choose? The choice is yours, right? You choose one. Uh, they wouldn't really say nothing. I mean, they wouldn't say nothing based on your choice. Like the choice is yours, right? So once you plug that in there, you put the action first. You put the action first, and then you put in brackets the hazard category, which is work at height. So you want to stick to that same pattern. If you want, we could look at the second one. If we go down here, you'll see like for the action two, they'd have done another one. They'll put the hazard category in brackets, and then they put one of the control from the table, hazardous or hazard substances. Supposed to be hazardous substances, by the way, right? So enclosed area to be set up for sanding and grinding operation, including that would include a local exhaust ventilation system. So they have chosen a control and they have put the category. If we look, they have to do it 3 times, or you have to do it 3 times. So you see a third one. Here they have arranged floors to be degreased at least weekly, and you have here slips and trips. This is the hazard category here in brackets. So you kind of stick into that same format. Please make notes, sir. Don't assume you know anything. There's some things the sample is actually going to get wrong. So I want to kind of clear it up for you, right? All right. Once you do that, right, what you want to go and do, you want to go on the HSE website. We had a class on that. Was a class on ACOPS. I think it's on YouTube. Right? You don't really need the class. What I'm saying, you just need the to be honest, you just need the knowledge of it. So if you want to get us read the slides, and you can just get the knowledge from that particular class, right? Your class have been on YouTube since day one, right? We normally don't do that, but let me see if I can find it here for you, right? ACOPS. Yeah, November class, right? Health and Safety Acts regulation, right? Regulations, ACOPS, and lots of classes, free classes there for you all, right? So much of them. In fact, you all have it in your WhatsApp group too, right? August, ACOPS. So just take any one of that if you want. There's so much of them out there in the world now, and you could just have a review of it. But it's very simple. Anybody who forgot it, what you have to do is just put in HSE home in Google, HSE homepage, and you'll come up with the homepage. And what you want to do, you want to find the regulation for that hazard. Anybody want to try it for me now? You want to try that now if you remember how to do it? It's not today's class, but if you want, I could show you on my phone. I wouldn't show you on the screen because that class would have gone. But you can just try to find, if you want, let's try to find one together. I wouldn't do the other two. I would just do one, right? So you put Health and Safety Executive website, HSE. Remember, we had a full class of this, right? I guess there's so much of records of it out there now. If you find yours, good. If you find another one, that's the same thing. You come to the HSE webpage today. This is what it looks like. There's a picture of like a stone cutter on it. And once you get that, there's a search bar there, right? So what you want to find the regulation for work at height. So you just click on the search bar. I'll show you what I put in it. And you put in work at height, or what is the work at height regulation. But I just put in work at height regulation to see if it comes up. And it came up automatically. That's probably because I've been on the site many times, but work at height. If anybody get it before me, because I have to talk to you all, which is to keep your attention, and then also try to do this on the side. If you got it, just unmute your mic and tell us what you got for the work at height regulation, right? So in typing it in, what I'm saying, it came up now. In typing it in, it kind of come up for itself. But I'll still press search. I'll still press enter, right? For the purpose of
I
me,
got one for 2024,
very
work
good.
at height,
Very good, right?
October 2024.
Oh,
right?
I got one for 2005.
Yeah, 2005 is the same law, but just amended now. So anyone of that will be correct. There's no wrong answer to that, right? I actually got 2004 too, and I got the 2005 one as well, right? So the first one I click said the law, work at height regulation. And if you want to click it, because why you want to click it? Well, you don't want to click it enough, just to be honest, huh? I'll tell you what, let me just keep it there for a bit, right? So once you get the law, you want to get a quote from the law. You want to get like a small quote from the law. So could I put that here for you? So what you want to get the regulation. Once you get the regulation, you want to get a small quote, like about 1 line or 2 lines for the most. You want to kind of get a small quote for the law. We'll read this one here and then we'll see what it says, right? And then what you want to do, there's 3 things you have to do here. You have to get the regulation. You have to get a quote. Just put 1 to 2 lines is sufficient, folks, right? 1 to 2 lines is sufficient, right? Then you have to say where the company is failing to meet that regulation. You have to give like 2 examples where they fail to meet the regulation, right? Let's have a read of this one, right? They say here, there are specific legal duties that NGG need to meet under the Work at Height Regulation 2005. There is a duty to ensure that work at height is 4A, properly planned. So that's the quote. 4C, carried out in a manner which in so far as is reasonably practicable safe. That's another quote. And this is where the company is failing now, right? They say instructions are given to the workforce to walk around the inspection pit if they are working in the area. But these instructions are usually what? These instructions are usually ignored.
Ignored.
Right. Okay, remember it's basically where it's failing. So because the instructions are ignored, it means the company failing, all right? Workers that jump across the pit rather than work around it. And GG Limited are therefore failing in this duty. So you keep that same pattern for the other laws. If you want, I could go down as we're talking about laws. Maybe it's best if I go down one time and show you the second one. I'm going on to show you the second one, right? Bear with it a bit. So if you get to the second one, you'll see the hazard here is hazardous substance. They'll have to put in the HSE website, what's the law for hazardous substance? The law is a law called COSH, the Control of Substances Hazardous Health Regulation 2002. If you research it, COSH will come up in different years. COSH will come up 2004, 2005, 2006. Anyone is good enough, right? They don't penalize you all for the wrong year. They do that for the degree students. Certificate students, you all could put at the year because the year is amended then, right? But what we're looking for is the quote and if the company failing, right? So under the Control of Substances Hazardous Health Regulation, the employer must ensure that the exposure of employees to substances hazardous to health is either prevented or where this is not reasonably practicable, adequately controlled. Regulation 7. So that's the quote. Next one. This duty is not. So that's what? That's the fail. This duty is not, therefore, not being met due to the excessive amount of dust currently present on site. So that's the fail. Tell me if you're okay. We did it for 2. I wouldn't do it for 3. 2 is good enough. 2 is good enough, right? So I can go back to the next piece of it. Tell me if you're okay with the first 2 parts of part 3. You select a hazard, yeah? You choose a control of your choice. You find a regulation. You give a small quote. Don't overdo it, folks. You see how small the quotes are? And you give like an example where the company is failing to meet the law, right? From here now, I have to go back to the table. Okay, thanks for the feedback, folks. Let me see what's happening, right? I have to get back the marker. All right, I put in our faces back on this side again. So the next thing now, there's a simple way and a kind of difficult way to teach the next one, or to understand it anyway. So I'll go with the simple way first, right? I might do the simple way first. So the simplest way to think of this part here, right? This, we could call this tree. The simplest way to think of it, just not trying to get the slide to move, right? It's just to follow the bullet points. Watch it, right? So they want types of injuries or ill health. So you put the types of injuries and the ill health. You want the number of workers at risk, so you put the number of workers at risk. They want how often is the activity carried out, you put how often is the activity carried out. You want how widespread the risk is, you put how widespread the risk is. That's the simplest way. It have another way, and we have something else to do, but let's try to read it out first and see if we get the simple way, right? So types of injuries or ill health, they say the severity of risk occurring could be serious. Injuries, remember types of injuries, are likely to range from minor injuries such as bruising, sprains, strains, slightly more serious injuries such as fractures, or very serious injuries such as head or internal injuries. Yes, right? So you just do what they say. Next one. Number of workers at risk, approximately 6 mechanics regularly work around the inspection pit area. How often is the activity carried out? The inspection pit is in regular daily use, and most mechanics carry out work in this area. How widespread the risk is? The risk is confined to the inspection pit area only and affects workers only in this area. So the simplest way to think of this is just to answer the bullet point. However, it's not finished. But see if you understand the simple version first.
Yes,
What
sir.
we could watch, yeah, we could watch another one. We could watch this one here. Types of injuries or ill health. With hazardous substance, it is more likely that workers will become ill. Remember, ill health. Through inhaling the hazardous substance. Inhalation of dust could cause occupational asthma. Breathing in dust over a prolonged period could also cause occupational cancers. Anything from short-term irritation to long-term serious health condition. People can also get the irritant dust on their skin, which can cause dermatitis in their eyes, causing eye irritation and damage, or even accidentally swallow it, right? From hand to mouth transfer from contaminated hands. So that is injuries and ill health, right? Number of workers at risk. Most of the workforce and the general public are currently exposed to dust, as these operations are not carried out in an enclosed area. How often is the activity carried out? High concentration of processed dust are always present from the routine and frequent grinding and sanding activities being carried out. So how often? Frequent. That's what they said, right? Frequent. How widespread the risk is? The risk is present throughout the garage. So that's the easy way. That's just answering the bullet points, right? But it's something else you have to do here. So if you're okay, let's get to the something else. So the something else here is, I'm gonna grab the marker and think how best to tell it, right? So the simplest way here now, simplest way, right, is that you have to put in the risk matrix here. It's missing. Look at here, risk is likelihood and severity, if you remember that. You have to put in the risk matrix. If you forgot what the risk matrix is, you have to say then the likelihood is on a scale of 1 to 5. You have to choose your number, right? You have to say the severity is also on a scale of 1 to 5. You have to choose your number. And you have to multiply those numbers and put the risk number there. Why? Well, because they asked for it, the sample didn't have it, right? So if you chose maybe the likelihood is 3 and the severity is 4, the overall risk rating will be 12. And you have to say that 12 will probably be medium risk. In short, you have to put in the risk matrix here. That's it. They don't have any more argument, right? I mean, so what the examiners have been saying, examiners have been saying that this is not correct. Like quite high is not a risk number then. So some of the examiners not accepting these kind of answers like quite high. They want to see the matrix, right? So it's important. I don't know if you're still writing. When you choose your number of 3, you have to say why you chose 3. You have to say the likelihood is, well, 3 is not very high, right? So if they said it, but if they said quite high, I guess we could turn this to 5. If you say the likelihood is 5, you have to say why. You have to say, well, like how they said here, like workers are working in and around the inspection pit. The severity may be 5 because if somebody falls, I guess, on a height, that may be severe. So you have to say why. One of the things the examiner is looking here for is a risk matrix. I'm going to write this a little bit bigger for you all. And you have to say why you choose the number of 5, why you choose the number of 4, right? In the real world, for those who know, we don't really calculate risk like this. We use the matrix. And again, the examiners are asking to sort of put in the risk matrix there to be more precise with your ranking then, right? So if we were to fix this one, we could have said something like likelihood of injuries occurring from working in and around the inspection pit is 4. This is because, and you say what 4 is? 4 is very likely. This is because workers are working at the inspection pit for 8 hours of the day. That's how we'll fix it. Let's go on. The severity will depend on the height the workers fall from the top of the pit over an 8-foot drop or fall from the access steps. You can put this would be seen to be 5, which is very, well, but it'd be like death because, I mean, that's like over 8-foot drop, right? So you put 5 meaning serious injury or death. Then you multiply it and you say, therefore, the overall risk rating is 4 by 5, 20, which is seen to be very high. If you do that, you'll be safe. No examiner could say then that you was subjective by saying quite high, right? By the way, do you all know that when you submit your project to me, well, to me first, remember, I am getting it first, and then we are submitting the project. I hope you'll take a note of that. For your project, you submit it to the school, right? Then we have to vet it. Then we send it back to you, then you send it back to us, but then we have to upload it now, right? But I forget what I was saying before I went to that admin thing, right? I think I was saying that that like we have been seeing the examiners now saying that like quite high is subjective, right? They did actually consider likelihood and severity based on the course. We did teach the risk matrix, so they're asking for the matrix to be put into this part of it. So that's the only thing, and that would make this part of it finish, right? So the first piece is that you put in the matrix. I'm gonna write that here. You put in the matrix here, 1 to 5 matrix. As far as I know, you all have a textbook. That's in the book. You can actually Google it as well. The matrix is in the book. A risk matrix can just be Googled anyway. The other part of it is that you answer these bullet points, right? You just answer them in the line that correspond to them. And if you do that, well, then this piece of it is finished. I guess I could go down to the last piece. The last piece is easy. The last piece of part 3, but then you have to do it a second time. And then you have to do it a third time, right? Do wait for the last month though, or last minute. Try to get it done as soon as you could, right? All right, let me get down to the last piece of one part of part 3, right? I'm going to take this off. If anybody have any questions, they could ask. I prefer that you kind of unmute the mic. I know you're putting things in the chat, but remember a teaching, right? So there's only one way I could focus at a time. If you have anything that, maybe you want to ask a question, you could just unmute the mic and ask the question. So the last piece of part 3, right? How effective the action is likely to be in controlling the risk. This should include the intended impact of the action, which is your recommendation, which is purchasing a bridge in this case. Justification of the timescale that you indicated in your risk assessment, which is 2 months. They had said 2 months. A word for justification is to say why. Say why you are given the timescale of 2 months. And then whether you think the action will fully control the risk. So again, a simple way to think of this is just to answer each bullet point, right? Answer each bullet point. See if you're seeing that. So the first two lines will have the intended impact of the action. So they say the bridge, remember their recommendation was to purchase a bridge to get the mechanics to, walk over the pit instead of jumping, right? So the bridge would improve working practices in the area of the inspection pit. At the moment, workers tend to jump from one side of the pit to another, which has obvious risk associated with it, right? So the intended impact of the recommendation is the bridge would improve working practices. Next one is to say why you chose the time scale. So I have given a time scale of 2 months, as this is a specialized piece of equipment that nobody in the business has used before. The business would need to source a supplier and then arrange a delivery date. It is hoped that this project will be completed well within the 2 months timeline. So you kind of say why you give the 2 months. And the last piece, whether you think the action will fully control the risk. So they have here the bridge will definitely reduce the likelihood of falling into the pit and getting serious injuries. Risk will be adequately controlled. And that's the last piece of part three. Well, the last piece of part one and part three. Then you go and you do it a second time. You choose your hazard, you choose your further control, you find the regulation, plug that in, put in the risk matrix, answer all those bullet points, come back and you answer the three things on the bullet point, the intended impact, justification, and whether you think the action would fully control the risk. And then you do it a third time, right? So the point about this is starting, and again starting. You have to make a start somewhere, right? I guess that's life anyway. Start and you'll finish. But don't wait for the last week when it's due. Start like this week. You have a couple of days extra, as much as that may be spent doing recreational activities now, right? Try to kind of get some of these things typed out, right? Type it, save it. Once you have it there to hand up for your final. But I know nobody is down here. I know nobody reached part three yet. So who knows when you all would reach here, right? We have one more part to go, part four, and then we are finished. The project could be finished. What I could ask is if you want just kind of review part three, review any notes that you made there, see if you have any questions. I'll give you just about 2-3 minutes just to reflect on your notes a bit. Let me just be quiet a bit. Reflect on your notes a bit and see if you have any questions. I could run through anything for you. Part four is not going to take me long. It looks as if we're going to finish by 4 o'clock today. If we finish by 4, I'll let you all go. Right? Part four will take me about 15 minutes to teach. Probably less if I recap anything else that may carry us back to the 4 o'clock hour. Maybe I can do one big overcap at the end. But remember, you all don't need things like that. You all don't need a recap because you have a video. You have multiple videos. Long time people, when you hear this, you hear it once. Now you all have it on YouTube, Google Classroom, WhatsApp group. You can hear it as much as you want to hear it, right? I'll give it you 2 minutes by yourself. Just look at the notes you made in part three. Can we finish all of it there? See if you have any questions. I write here and I'll answer any questions you have, based on that. If not, we'll move on to part four.
So in column 4, right, and the project, right, I have another problem with the engineering, the elimination, or the PPE.
Oh, okay. All right.
Link.
Yeah, I know. So is it that you didn't get it or you're trying to link it back?
No, I get the like for instance, right, I said that um like rubber gloves should be worn like for chemical usage, right? But to link the actual to make it into one sentence, it's kind of hard.
You can just put PP to the background and that. If you just put PP in brackets if you want, if you don't want to make a sentence out of it. Was it that you're talking
Also, I
about?
could do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was studying if I could do it like that.
yeah, you can do it like that. You can just put PP in
Like
the background.
identify the
Yeah.
okay.
Like I was thinking if it's
Because I only
chemical, if
get
you
started today.
yeah, if you say something like chemicals can be replaced by some something less hazardous, but then that'll be substituting. Let's put substitute in brackets. That'll be fine. That'll be
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Yeah,
But then
right?
I
You
didn't
know, yeah, I mean,
think on
the
contract.
other way would be to say substitute the chemical for one that is less hazardous. But if you already wrote it, you can just link the hierarchy words to the back of it, right? The truth
Oh.
is, Danish Barry, from what I realized, the examiners don't check every line to see if you match it to the hierarchy. They just check to see that you did match some to the hierarchy, right?
Okay.
But I now remember what I was going to tell earlier when I forget just now. You know what I'm going to tell earlier? I was going to tell you all right. Do you all know that it's different examiners marking your paper? Like the person that gets Joshua project then may not be the same person that get Megan project. It is be a different examiner. So that's why I'm trying to cover all bases now. That's what I was telling you before. I wonder if I could show you one. If we finish early, because we almost finished, I could try to find one and show you. I can examine our feedback,
Did I find out?
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
Afras?
yeah,
Yeah, here. Yeah.
work shift system. So my one is Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, and have a selective workers for Saturday. That will work as a work shift.
All right, yes. But it have a catch. Listen to the catch, right? So from yours, so you could see yours, right? Did you put in the word shift in it? Shift system? Is the words SHIFTSYSTEM in it?
No.
Okay, well, you have to put it. Because they don't really think that Saturday is a shift system unless you say Saturday is a shift system. So what is actually missing there is actually the words shift system. Folks, you understand that? What they're trying to say, anything could be your shift. You could be working shift now. But the examiner in England wouldn't know it's a shift unless if you say it's a shift. Right? So in Trinidad, we would say, okay, you're working Saturday, so that's a shift. Or you're working maybe 6 to 10 in the night, that's a shift. But they don't know that because that could be your normal company work. They don't know your company. They don't know who is, Atlantic LNG, or they don't know who is NP. They don't know these companies down here and they don't really care to know. It's England. They don't have to know. But what does make it correct? It's kind of like when they ask you for the number of workers, you put the number of workers, 20. So for that part of it, I have realized people, not just you, remember his classes for the last, 5 years we had, and then 10 years before that, right? So like, why you get it correct for is not that because Saturday is actually your shift day, it's actually because you actually put the word shift system, right? So you remember this project is a checklist, right? Remember that concept, the project is a checklist. It's like, what is a checklist? If they ask you for something, they just have to do it. But yeah, they make it clear to them now. So I said yes to that because I know it's a shift. But then if you didn't put the word shift system, that would have been a fail right there because you have to, in other words, you have to read, write, and spell for Bosch. I'll say that again. You have to read, write, and spell for Bosch. When you put your activities, that's why they wanted you to put the activities and put a comma between them. Moving boxes by hand, comma. Loading boxes on a tray, comma. Preparing meals, comma. Remember that piece of the activities? You have to read, write, and spell for Bosch, right? And also bear in mind what I tell you that you're going to end up with different examiners, right? Different people that's correct your paper. But what I try to do, I try to cover all bases now. Like some examiners, I was telling you all, they would read this here, like when the person put quite high, and they would give you it correct. I know people like that. I know students who put things like that and pass, but then I know students who put things like that and fail. So to cover all bases, just go to the matrix. Like if you put in number, you say the likelihood is 4, high, the severity is 5, very severe. Therefore, the risk number is 4 by 5, 20, which is high risk. Nobody could give it wrong, right? So, just try to do that and send the draft in, right? I was saying, look, I had a class result came out last night. Please don't take this the wrong way and don't take it the right way. It's just facts, right? Remember, not every class is the same. We had a class in December, they got 70% passes. I have that in my hand here if I want, I could show it, right? And I had results that came out last night, and a class got 100% passes. Now, that is not you. So don't feel happy and don't feel sad either. You still have to do your work, right? The persons that got 100%, they work. And it's not hard work, but it just have to be precise, right? And for this project, because if something is missing on the checklist, once they spot it, they would take out the mark, and once they take out the mark, what they say that's not a pass, right? I mentioned the other easier NEBOSH courses, our process safety courses, multiple choice exam, right? But this one is not hard, but it's precise, right? And so that's why you need to do it. And as I kind of appealing to you all now, like do them, send in the draft, but don't do it vike. Like follow the guidance. So like if you follow the thing here, then you will never go wrong, right? If you're doing the project and you didn't look back at your notes, you didn't look back at the video, but then you do the wrong thing, right? But do it and do it well one time so that we could use that as your final. All right,
Excuse
last
me.
piece of
All right. So for my project, right? For the action taken, you said give 5 or more actions, right? So I trying to give 5 of my actions
that's on the
for the
table.
5 different hierarchy of controls. Yeah.
Yeah. Joshua,
I'm
it
trying
don't
to give
have to
five
line up.
different.
Yeah, but it don't have to line up to the hierarchy. It just have to be 5. And that is also from an examiner. An examiner commented somebody put 3, and the examiner said the 3 was insufficient. So that's how we know what to tell students now. Like after years of doing it, we could remember what examiners say. But if you try to line it up to the hierarchy, good, but it don't have to. Now, what that means is that you can get 2 PPE, you can get 2 administrative, like things like training. Training could work for administration, but things like following an SOP is also administrative, right? Things like supervision is also administrative. Things like making sure the worker follow a JSA is still administrative. The thing is, once you have 5, you don't have to all line it up to the hierarchy, because you may find, like for Daneshwari, like elimination may be tough. There's not much things you can eliminate. If you eliminate the task, but then what the company doing, the company getting paid for doing what they're doing, right? So you might be able to eliminate the task, you could eliminate the hazard. But if you're finding it difficult, you could double up on some of them. You could get probably 3 on administrative, 1 PPE, 1 general control. A general control is like the opposite to the problem that you create. Like how you have here, how they have your inhaling paint mist containing isocyanates, right? So they could try to solve that problem. You could probably say open the windows and the doors. You could probably say something like but if you say like ensuring like let me see, inhaling paint, I guess you may want to say choose a paint, and that would be substitution, like choose a paint that is not hazardous, then like water-based, and that'll be substitution, right? So you could come up with them, but they don't all have to line up to the hierarchy. Once they get the 5, I think they will be happy with that. Yeah. All right, I'm going down back. And anybody else
Yes,
as
sir.
we on the table? Anybody as we on the columns? I mean, we on the rows here. We on the columns. Column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anybody else? Speak now or message. Right. I think, and that means Oh, by the way, I think by consensus or through the grapevine, should I say, I have been hearing that you all prefer the May exam. I think some things I've been hearing, and that's kind of okay, because remember, April is Easter, and I think Eid around this time as well, right? So I don't mind if you all go till May, but we wouldn't have work for the whole of April. I think I told you that we'll probably finish 2 weeks in April, and one of the weeks will be Easter anyway, right? But we wouldn't have work then for 2 months again. We only have work for we have
5 more weeks.
yeah, but we only have 4 more lessons, right? And when I send you them, lesson 13, 15, it's like 10 slides. what it's not long slide, it's not long lessons, right? So we would wrap up. If we go the first week in April, we'll probably go till the first week in April, but you won't have you won't have work then for the whole of April, right? So just to let you know, I have no problem with that. I think that's a good idea. I don't believe in rushing the course, especially when it have holidays and you're trying to finish because it's Easter. I prefer we take with time. Because remember, you all have this project to do too. You have to send it in, get it checked, working it behind the scene. All of those things takes time anyway, right? So that an issue with me. NEBOSH is every month. In fact, if you don't want May, you could write June. That's not for everybody. If anybody couldn't make May, you could write June. The exams now are every month. You check yourself, you know what you have going on in May. If you couldn't do it then, do it in exam is every month. Long term exam is to be twice for the year. If you miss June, that was it. Next time is the end of the year. The diploma still is like that. You heard me say diploma have two intakes of the year. One is April and the other is the end of the year. Right? So diploma still is that. But certificate, since the pandemic, every month have exams. So you kind of go at your pace, but hopefully you know that we would be finished. And what that means, you're on your own. You're on your own is not really on your own because you all have the WhatsApp group, you all have the YouTube channel. You're not really without a lesson then because you all have it there for you anyway. If nobody else is on the table, anybody any question, we're going back down to part 4. We're almost finished now.
And Mr. Shadrach, when
Yeah.
you said were the intakes for the diploma,
Intake is April. Now, we do take you without the certificate. The only reason is because you are one of our students. We only do that for our students, just to let you all know that, right? We take
Okay.
our students who have finished, but if anybody has written the exam and you're waiting results, we will still take you, right? But that only happens to our students, right? And you know, the rest of people from the other schools, we take, my buddy's the only school offering a diploma. If anybody comes in from Costa, Cipriani, SBCS and stuff, you know, they must have a cert and they must have it like the NEBOSH cert. Some people will come, you know, with a diploma from somewhere else, like Cipriani or something, right? But still, we give our students preference. Preference meaning, like the present diploma class, it probably just have 3 people from the outside, right? Everybody is our own students anyway that came to the school here, right? And you normally find they are the ones that do better anyway. The folks that come from the outside tend to struggle a bit, right? Especially if you have any other NEBOSH courses like the ILO certificate, Cipriani certificate, and stuff. Even SBCS people kind of struggle with this kind of qualification. But once you understand what NEBOSH is, open book exam, comprehension, the diploma is the same thing, you know. The diploma is the same thing. Open book exam, comprehension. And the diploma is kind of good because you have 10 days to do the exam. Yes, you heard that correct. You have 10 days to do the exam. However, a question may really take you a day, and you have 10 questions. So you may finish on the 9th day or the 10th day, everybody kind of works, but you don't finish too much before. Unless if you're home. If you're home and you're not working, you may finish by the 7th day. But people are passing. The diploma now was 18 months. You have 3 semesters of 6 months in duration. And you know, like we have been turning on graduates very rapidly because of the exam then being open book and 10 days, folks, you know, night and day, not one day like you all, but 10 days, right, to do the exam. If anyone interested, let me know, but yeah, they let me know like probably Wednesday or something, right? I think I only have space for 5 more people. Yeah, remember we don't wait, right? Like we have other classes. We have 3 other classes and classes that have gone before. People normally go on a waiting list to get into that class.
Excuse, this will be for next year, April.
No, this April.
This April coming year?
Yeah, it only have 5 seats remaining.
Okay.
I have the book right here, I could tell you.
Well, you can put me down one time.
Well, you tell me on Wednesday because unless if you message me after class, yeah. I have 5 more seats available. And I haven't even considered my Guyana classes yet. If I should get a big intake, to be honest with you, I mean, when I say big, No, I should rephrase that. The current class is 20-something people. And you all are going to be added to that class. The 10 we taking in is going to be added onto that class, right? One or two of them will finish their cycle and they would leave us. But if I should ever get like a batch of 10 again, I may put them as a separate batch, right? I'll explain that another time, right? If you want to know. So it's like a cycle. Like your first semester will be somebody's second semester, but you're all doing the same subject for the first time until you do your second one, and then somebody for them that will be the first one. And then when you do your third one and you finish and you go on, for an incoming student, that subject that you're doing, which is your third subject, will be that will be their first subject. So it's like a cycle. And I've been going so for the last 15 years. I've never advertised a diploma, just to let you know that. For the last 15 years, I've never advertised a diploma, but we are always filled. Right? If you check the Facebook page, see when you see last, you see a diploma ad. You'll never see any. You'll always see certificate, you'll always see process safety, but diploma is always filled. Right? So, but again, please remember, you all get preference, right? You get preference even without having the full certificate, right? All right, the last piece of part 4. So they wanted to put the plan review date or period with reasoning. So you just had to follow that. You said the company policy to review the risk assessment at least every 12 months. I therefore set the review date for 12 months' time. And well, there's only one catch here. You have to put a physical date, like how they have the 25th of April, 2023. You have to put a exact date. Any date will work, but this is in 12 months' time. So, geez, I should probably change it. So then it may be, if it's 12 months' time, I should change this, right? So the 25th of April, 2026, because that's, you know, give or take a month there, difference anyway, right? 2026. I've seen examiners also asking students to put another reason. You see reason here, reasoning. So I've seen the action like when should the review be done again? When should the review be done again? Right? And normally the answer for that is like after an accident or the recommendation from an auditor or something like that. Right? If you check your book, you'll see like reasons to review an RA. Reasons to review an RA. Right? So please remember, put your review date 2026 because you are in 2025. And so the review date is going to be a year from now, which is going to be 2026, right? And if you could put another reason here, like after an accident, but you all will put this one now because it means that everybody be copying the same thing. Another reason to review a RA is after an accident, recommendation from a client, recommendation from an auditor. All of those are correct answers anyway, right? What again could be an answer? After a
And EMS?
fine, say it, after a fine from OSHA or the HSE,
And EMS?
dangerous occurrence. Maybe
Right.
a dangerous occurrence. Because an EMS, remember, an EMS is really nothing, right? An EMS
Mm-hmm.
is somebody slipped but it didn't fall. But maybe a dangerous occurrence because remember, a dangerous occurrence is one, if it had happened, you would have what? Anybody remember?
Fine.
No, in a dangerous occurrence, if a dangerous occurrence had occurred, what would have happened to you?
Risk injury or death.
Yeah, it would have been serious injury or death. That is our first class we ever had, orientation. It's on YouTube, right? All right, let me go to the second part here. I'm taking that one off. So here they have how the risk assessment findings will be communicated and who you need to tell. So there are two things they're asking for, how the risk assessment findings will be communicated and who you need to tell, right? So to simplify this for you, this is all of the verbal, written, and graphic means of communication. This is all the verbal, written, and graphic means of communication. Let's see what they say, right? I will arrange a meeting with the finance director to go through and agree the actions in the risk assessment. I will provide a summary of the findings and actions for the workshop and store manager. These will be initially email or email initially. So that's like technology, right? With follow-up meetings if required. The findings of the risk assessment will be included in the next available toolbox talks, that's verbal, where I will also advise the workers on the actions that are to be taken. A summary of the risk assessment and action to be taken will also be posted on the company's intranet that all workers have access to, right?
Yeah.
So how email, toolbox talks, summary, posted on the company intranet. Who? Finance director, right? And that wraps up this piece of it. When you reach this far, which will be probably in a week from now, if you work at all, or 2 weeks from now, or some people 3 weeks from now, and some people 4 weeks from now, you could just check back this video now, right? Next one. How you will follow up on the risk assessment to check that the actions have been carried out. So they say here, I will set diary reminders for roughly 10 days before the action is due to be completed. I will speak to the responsible person for each of the actions to find out the progress against each action. Should the action not be on target for completion, I will find out the reasons why. Example, is it down to finance or other resource issues, such as workers' time to complete the actions? If any actions look like they are not going to be completed on time, I will speak to the finance director to see if additional resources is available for the action. Actions that are very overdue, i.e. completion is more than 6 months late, will be referred to the managing director via the finance director, right? So like a simple way to think of this is just to read it and write one that sounds kind of like it. But don't copy it, of course. Don't plagiarize the whole thing, right? You can just read it and write one like it. There is one thing to point out here that I see the examiners focusing on, which is they look for, the marker keep running away. Hang on a bit, right? They look for overdue action. How are you going to handle actions that are overdue, right? Overdue actions. So they want you to address it. How would you address overdue action? So don't send your draft in if you didn't do this, because you'll get it right back to go and put in overdue actions, right? Let me see if I have any feedback from examiners on this computer. I normally may not have it because I'm just gonna run a search and see if I could think of somebody who did it. I could have I would have liked to show you an examiner feedback, right? Bear with me a bit. I have like 100 different things open here. And the thing is, like, what would I have saved it as? That's the thing, though. These things don't come. These things come like a serial code to the back of them. If I don't get it, I ran a search, but nothing came up, right? But sometimes it saved that person name. But it would have showed you. Can't think of the last person that sent one, you see. Because we have been having some good results, but normally there is and then sometimes they save as the person name. Um hmm, just now. Let me check the download folder and see. And that's even a more of a mess because my stuff have hundreds of different things in it anyway that with the same kind of heading. Then if we put NG2, then I get all my NG2 kind of projects that people send in, right? So it doesn't seem as if, unless if I track it to somebody's name, and at the moment I can't think of a student that was referred. And so I could probably do that for you all. I mean, it's not part of the course in any way. I just wanted to maybe, no, I can't, right? I can't actually, in a live itself too, I have to keep on talking to you all. If you want, I could stop talking and go look for it and come back a bit. That may be, you want me to try that? Instead of trying to keep your attention, let me just be quiet a bit. I'll see if I could find one and I could come back on the live if there's anything, because as it for today, we are finished. What you could do for me in the meantime, you could look through the part one, see if you have any question, look through the part two, see if you have any question, part three, part four. And what do you want me to do? You want me to try that? Do you want me to go look for one and I'll show you what our feedback looks like?
Sure.
Okay, good. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, it's not part of the thing anyway, but sometimes maybe if you see it, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Like you probably think I am the one making up all of these things. And it's really not. It's just that we're just trying to echo the voices of the examiners and try to get all bases covered, right? But I can't keep your attention and do that at the same time. I think I have to kind of just do one at a time. So stick around. It may take me about 5 minutes because I have to now try to remember who was referred. I have to pull the registers of the old classes and see and then try to see if we could track it back on the system anyway. All right, I got something. But I don't know if you could see it, so I have to try to share it with you, right? It's on another window, it's on the neighbor system itself. Let me see how I could attempt to share it, right? Give me a second, right? So much of Windows and all right, I'm going to see if we could pull it up from downloads. Any questions you all have though? I mean, those of us who looked at anything you had so far. Downloads. And it's not coming up in downloads, right? But having the screen open, right? But it didn't open as a full page. And it not giving me the option to, let's say I could drag this page a bit higher. The page is not dragging higher, right? I guess they would not be work with the view we have then, right? It's not dragging higher or lower. But maybe we could still see it. All right, let me attempt to share it with you. Let me know if you see it. It's going to look kind of purple, orange kind of way. That's what the feedback looks like. Okay, let me know if you're seeing it when you're seeing anything that looks kind of purplish, orangish, kind of on your side.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. Oh, good, good. All right. Okay. So you all don't know the student and the names are not on it, but this is what I was saying. I don't know how to get this bigger because it's not opening, like there's no other function. Okay, and if you all can see it, fine, right? I mean, if you say you can see it, great, right? But it's not open as an entire window, it's like a window inside of a window. So that's what I'm saying is like a checklist, right? Here you have watch how they mark it, right? This is somebody from December and he passed, right? Or this is a he, by the way. So you put the name of the organization, they put Met. Remember I was telling you that? So the company don't even have to be a real company. The company could just be your name, right? WG Contracting Limited is not really important, right? Afra's on if Afra's left us. No, Afra's still there, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Site location, you put a site location. It don't really matter, right? If it's Guyana, if it's Trinidad. But yeah, they describe it now. You say like lot 10 village, point 410, Trinidad and Tobago. You
But
know, but that's why
the location we have to state it in the UK region or
no, Trinidad. Or Guyana. You're stating like where, well, you could use the real address if you know it, but you could, like, if it's a makeup company, you could just say your home address. You can say things like, number 7, you know, Henry Street, Prince of Wales Street, whatever, right? And you put Trinidad and Tobago and you put West Indies, right? And once you do that, this is how they market. They're not really marking content. Remember, I'll tell you all that. They're marking to see if you have it. They're marking it like a checklist. How many workers employed? If you put 23, 20, 12, 9, but don't put 1. I think we told you that. Then they put met. And once you met, you passed. That's the thing now, right? So could I go down to some of the examiners' comments? So you see, he met everything. Well, so they say, and therefore he is given a pass, right? Did he have a minimum of 10 hazards? They put met. Did he identify hazards taken from 5 hazard category? They put met. Did he put moral, legal, financial arguments? Met. Did he put the likelihood and consequences or severity? They put met. Was a realistic time scale given for review? They put met. Reason for review given? They put met. So as I just said, they're checking for a reason for review, right? Indicate how the RA will be communicated, verbal, written, graphic. Indicate the risk assessment findings, how it will be communicated, who you'll tell, right? So met. But it have some comments here now. So that's where I get my comments from. So when you hear me say, focus on the risk assessment, focus on the So this guy, listen, this is one of the students in the November. He wrote December. He was in a June class, right? So he was a good one. He listened, he sent in his feedback and stuff. He sent in his draft, everything like that, right? So they'll put some comments here. So that's how I know to say what I say. But remember, he was a pass, so they didn't have anything bad to say about him. That's the first one I opened. I know you all were waiting. So I didn't open another one. If you want, I could try to open another one of somebody that failed, and we can see, right? So watch what they said. The description of the organization provided included the name of the organization, number of workers employed were mentioned, the shift patterns mentioned. See what I tell you all? The check-in for that. It's not a joke, right? Even if your company don't have a shift, put it because it's something on the checklist. Folks, you all understand that? I'll say, even if your company don't have a shift, put it still because that's something on the checklist. Remember the first time I ever taught you all the project, I told you all, this project is like the world of wrestling, half of it real and half of it fake, right? So if you have a shift, put it. You don't have a shift, put it still, right? I think I'll close off here. Unless if you have any questions, let me know if you have any questions. I kind of went a bit above here to show you somebody's feedback form. Granted, you don't know the person. I think we kind of somewhat safe in that sense anyway, right? What say you? If not, we'll move to mark the roll, and that would be it for today. Today is the 1st of March. So if you have no question, I'll just go straight into the rule, right? Megan George.
Present.
Thanks very much, Megan. Mark Lochan. Michael Gairdine. I don't know Michael is here.
Yeah,
Or did he
Michael,
leave
yeah.
us? Yeah, I know Michael here. I didn't see Mark though. Okay. Rishi Singh. I think Rishi said he might not have been here. Kenwin Payne. I'm seeing Kenwin. Yeah. Aaron Caesar. Joshua Ram is here. Afraz is here. Sumaria is here. Javan is here. Stefan Charan. Stephanie Mongol. Okay. Shannon Mason. Okay, thanks, Shannon. Evangeline is here.
Yes.
Whitney is here. Yeah. Akili Wilson. I didn't see Akili. Okay, here. Okay, good. Jessica Johnson.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jessica. Shamila Rajas. Sean Hanif. Osmond Philip. Yep. Danish Wari, and then we have Ria Samuel.
Present.
Okay, can't say my friend. Okay, folks, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and of course, be safe for the holidays and stuff as well. I'll see you all back next week, Saturday, right? All the best,
bye.
everyone. Bye.